come around to say hello. One-on-one, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you, it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
And we want to set the record straight on issues that are actually troubling people of this country, because the debate and the entire narrative around is just so polarized. Whether our institutions have betrayed the Constitution, whether our politics has betrayed the Constitution, whether democracy is really under threat, whether the Constitution is really under threat. These are some issues we'll take up with our esteemed guests today. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. And let me begin with you, Justice UU Lalit. This has been an oft-repeated lament, if one were to call it that Constitution is in danger. The democracy is in danger because the Constitution has been defied in the present day. I want to ask you, do you today believe that the Constitution really is in danger, democracy is in danger, because the current custodians of the Constitutions, whether it is the executive or the judiciary, have one way or another put a threat to it?
No, I don't believe or subscribe to that theory at all. According to me, we have lived up to the promise, number one. We have expanded the scope of inclusivity under the Constitution. What we are doing in last 75 years or as of now is taking the same spirit further up and develop it in this fashion. Now, I'll give you 2 or 3 instances. Number one, when the Constitution was originally enacted, there were only 2 sets of beneficiaries who were supposed to be part of affirmative action: scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Of course, there was one small segment which was Anglo-Indian community, for whom there used to be a nomination of 2 seats in one of the houses of the parliament. Leave aside those Anglo-Indians. Today, what has happened is that apart from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, one more set of beneficiary which got added was actually OBCs, as a part of your office memorandum which got challenged in Indira Sahni. So therefore, that was the 3rd set of persons who got the benefit as affirmative action. Then the 4th set, when it came to women getting representation in some of the elected kind of, bodies, like say Panchayat Samitis, Municipal Council, 73rd, 74th Amendment, the women were also given representation to the extent of 1/3 at the lower level. That same spirit is now getting carried by 106th Amendment by giving them representation in Lok Sabha as well as what is called the state legislature. So therefore, one more set of beneficiary gets added. Then call it by interpretative process or Parliament taking the cue from what the Supreme Court then laid down. Every child in this country is now entitled to free and compulsory good quality education when he is between the ages of 6 to 14. So therefore, one more set of beneficiary getting added. If you see the course of Constitution, 4 new regions have been added to the Indian Union, starting with Dadra Nagar Haveli, Goa, Daman and Diu, then Pondicherry, Yanam, Karaikal, and finally Sikkim. We haven't lost any territory. Our borders are secure. So therefore, if you look at it from that front, perhaps I think we are doing quite well. If you again think in terms of what used to be our per capita income in 1947 and today, even with the explosion in population, because we were just about 55 crores that time, today we are 140 crores, correct? Even then our per capita income is far, far greater. Literacy rate is again something, which is commendable. So therefore, if you look at it from various perspectives, what you find is that the Constitution is now truly getting inclusive in every character. And that is something very, very commendable. Can you imagine 250 years of US Constitution and how many Black Americans or African origin Americans have been senators there? In last 250 years, only 18. Look at our idea. Every house has to have 1/3 at least, 12.5% and 15 and 7.5%. Almost say one fourth of that has to have come from, segments which are supposed to be depressed communities. So we give far greater representation to them. That's the kind of logic which our constitution has laid down, and we are living up to that.
Well said, but Dushyant Dave, are we looking at India from 1947 to 2024, getting into 2025, or are we only looking at the last 10 years when we lament that the constitution is under threat?
See, first and foremost, Chief Justice Lalit is one of the most respected jurists, a judge and a lawyer of this country. It's therefore very difficult for one to disagree with what he says. But having said that, I must say with great respect, Chief Justice, that the cup is either half full or it is half empty. To my mind, it is completely empty. Constitution is a document which is not at all damaged. It is a document as it survives today. 114 days of hard work by the Constituent Assembly to bring this finest of the documents is intact. Question is, what was provided therein by these great men and women who comprise the Constituent Assembly, led by great leaders like Rajendra Prasad, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and of course Dr. Ambedkar. Those principles, to my mind, have really been watered down substantially. Take preamble, 3 things: equality, justice, fraternity. Each one is non-existent today. You scratch the surface and you will see. In a country, Mr. Justice Lalit rightly says, very few black Africans. I mean, the largest party of this country in the last election didn't give Muslim a single seat. There is no parliamentarian from a majority party. What are we talking about? We have 16%, population of Muslims in this country, and we are keeping them away. Large-scale violations of human rights in this country. Hundreds of people have been killed in the name of encounter, as if the executive has a right to take away people's lives. National Human Rights Commission remains silent. High Court remains silent. Supreme Court remains silent. What are we talking about? If we can't protect fundamental rights of citizens, their right to life, forget liberty, and executive can kill to its will, and nobody asks a question. Look at Hathras, what happened. A poor Dalit girl was raped and nothing happened. Those people were acquitted. So, we have to see fraternity today in this country is a serious, serious victim. And, we have to realize that these great men and women, when they gave the Constitution to us, they really wanted this country to prosper. It's not enough that, some development has taken place, some development has taken place there. If 85 plus crore people, Prime Minister says proudly in the election manifesto of 2024, that I give free food to 85 crore plus people, and Modi ki guarantee ke main 5 saal tak deta rahunga. What does it mean? It means 85 plus crore people are living below poverty line. Now, out of 140 crore, if 85 crore are still dependent on state largesse for food, as essential as that, then can we say that we have progressed? Of course, we have progressed a little bit, but that's lopsided. We also have Andanis and Ambanis. Question is, the large number of people, the large section of the people, I would go to the extent of saying more than 75% people are today deprived in terms of not just their social status. It's all right to say that Dalits have got, reservation, they have got these seats, that seat. We all know what happens in our villages. In Gujarat, a Dalit cannot ride a horse to go and get married. Is this what constitutional framers wanted? And if he sits, he is killed. There are instances where they have been killed. So what are we talking about? We are talking about a nation which is seriously fractured. And the reason is this. Navika, you must remember, 4th of October 1948, this is what Ambedkar had said, that if you want to pervert constitution, you just change the form of the administration. And this is exactly what has happened. Ambedkar had also predicted on 25th November 1949 that will India lose democracy? He asked a rhetorical question to himself. He says, of course it will, when there is a landslide, meaning election. Mrs. Gandhi did it. Now, Mr. Modi is doing it. We don't need a declared emergency. We have this form of governance, which is really troublesome. And I personally feel that it's necessary for us as a nation, and I commend you for this initiative, that where you have a debate like this, it is necessary for us that we must have a debate, because constitutional morality must be set into mind of every citizen. Because only if he has that, he has a reverence and love for the Constitution. So that's absent. That's the real problem.